Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Welcome to round number 2 of the Go-Kart Championship in 2017. The Sussex Cup returns to Filching Manor for the second round of the season. Don't worry, there will be more than one track in this calendar, but just the first 2 races are going to be held here at Filching Manor. So, qualifying was a close affair between all 6 drivers here today, and, well, it was incredibly close. 1.5 seconds was the separation from first down to 6th, which is pretty awesome considering the track isn't exactly short. So we have 6 people racing today, as I mentioned. We've got James, we've got Will, we've got Will's dad, we've got Tom, we've got myself, who we're on board with right now. We've also got John, and thanks to my dad, who is also recording trackside here today, he decided not to race here today. So qualifying was a really interesting sort of scenario, because all of us were really pushing. At the same time, we can see here, we were overtaking each other at the same time. So I guess most of you guys probably know, but a big part about qualifying is making sure you've got space in front of you on the track, because it's all good and well overtaking people, but it doesn't really mean anything. What you want is just clear air in front of you, or maybe a slight slipstream if you've got the possibility of doing that. So you can see here, like Tom, for example, was just backing off just to give himself a gap. So this is what the qualifying results look like. Will with an incredible lap time here in qualifying with 28.9. Then James and myself both on 29.5s. Tom got a 29.8. Will's dad was on a 30.1 and John got to 30.3. So it's actually 1.4 seconds between Will on pole position and then John in 6th. So that's very close, but let's head to the race here. Race number 1 of the weekend here, with Will starting on pole position here. And, well, it's really good to see how close the field was, and who knows, with a bit of an incident in the race, it could be even closer. So we look to the lights, and the lights are out, and away we go. A great start from James as always, and Tom gets a good start as well. Heading down to the first corner, it looks like James is going to be leading this race. Tom can't quite get past Will as we head down to the first corner. Will's dad also up into 4th position here, and I think I've dropped down into 5th position just ahead of John here. But James leading this race has got a bit of a gap there to Will in 2nd position. You can see now I'm trying to go for a move here on the outside of Will's dad. Don't think we're going to be able to get around the outside there, so we're going to look to the inside here, get the cutback. No, not quite there. Maybe the next corner we can get a good enough run. Yes, we got a good run here. Will's dad made slight contact with me there. I'm hopping over the curb. He's looking to the inside. Is he going to go for a move down the inside? No, he isn't. He couldn't quite get that one done. So now down up to the top hairpin. You can see they're so close, but I don't think he's just going to be able to get past me there. And oh, James, he's lost the lead the race. Will's gone through into the lead the race. It looks like James slightly misjudged his braking zone there, and he's down into 2nd position. And now Will, if he's got anything to go by in that qualifying place, it looks like he's going to charge way out into the distance here. So that'll be interesting to see whether Will will pull off into the distance with that qualifying pace, or maybe the race obviously is a bit longer than qualifying, so maybe a bit of fatigue will sort of settle in. Who knows? So you can see here's my onboard here. I've dropped quite far behind Tom here, who's trying to put the pressure on James here, but it's not going to be quite enough here. It looks like James has got a bit of a gap, and you can see, to be honest, Will's dad isn't too far behind, but he's gone quite wide through there, which I think means now John is going to be right up behind him here. So you can see, there we go. I'm in 4th place here, trying to catch down Tom and James, who are battling over 2nd position here, but the gap is going up. I haven't exactly the greatest start to this race. Had a terrible start. The plus with a bit of a contact with Will's dad, not exactly how my first couple of laps was, going to ideally turn out, but nonetheless, we are going to be trying our best to try and close down that gap. So something I want to quickly point out, guys, is that the lap counter at the top of your screen is what the leader's lap is on. So you'll see that randomly change. That means when Will, or whoever's in the lead of this race, goes on to their next lap, that will change, not whoever's lap we're on board with. Yeah, so hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So the big battle at the moment is here between Tom and James. They've definitely closed up here. Will has really sort of pulled off into the distance here, onto that 5 of this race already here. So up to the top hairpin. Is Tom going to be close enough to go for an overtake? He's up in the slipstream. I don't think he's ideally close enough to go for an overtake here. So he's taking the wider line. He did quickly check behind to see whether I was close enough here, but that wasn't the case. But he's really quick to this part of the track here. Tom, you can see he's right over the back of James's go-kart here. James pulls away a little bit through that left-hander there. If you look on board with me, I'm not that far behind. I was hoping and praying at this part of the track here they're going to get into a bit of a battle to hopefully close it up for me here. So I was keeping my fingers crossed that they were going to get involved in a battle, because you can see at this point here I'm not too far behind, and if they get a bit side by side, I could definitely take advantage of that and hopefully maybe get past one of them. Who knows? So look at this, Will incredibly far out front at this moment. He's really pulling out such a decent amount of a gap each and every lap, which is great to see for him. That's exactly the sort of comeback he wanted to the series. I think his last race was in the autumn series sometime last year, so it's been quite a long time since he's been racing around this track, and he actually has raced go-karts before. I think I mentioned that, so maybe he has a bit of advantage in that, but then I've been to this track an awful lot more, so I should have the advantage. So up to the top hairpin, you can see James slightly pulled away on this lap here, but he's got a bit sideways through there. and Tom's going to definitely gain on him through here. You can see once again it's closed down again, but it does look like James has slightly more pace than Tom in this race here, but for me, I don't really care. I just want to make sure that I can try and close up to both of them here, and if they get into a battle, it's more likely that's going to happen. So, back on board with John here. You can see he's really trying to close down Will's dad, but he's not quite close enough to go for an overtake. Will's dad is a really, really good defender, slightly over-aggressive in some instances, but at the same time, he is very, very good at defending. So, I think a lot of us are sometimes a little bit sort of cautious when overtaking him, because we know that he's really, really good at defending that optimal line. So, up to the top hairpin, John, he's trying to close down that gap, but it's not quite good enough right at the moment to get the position done. So you can see here on board with Tom now, Will's already onto lap number 9, and you can see Tom's slightly lost a bit of time in these last couple of laps to James here. That's going to be a big loss, because now you've sort of lost a bit of the slipstream effect as well. You might get a little bit. I mean, in go-karts which don't travel that fast, at the end of the day you're not going to be getting a massive slipstream effect, but anything, especially from like me or John, who are definitely a little bit taller, the slipstream effect is vital for us to get any sort of overtake on, especially like someone like Tom or James, who's ultra fast in a straight line. We need any sort of help we can get. So lap number 10, that's normally about the halfway mark. In about a 10-minute session, you'd normally get about 20 laps. So 10, you generally say, is the halfway point of this race here. So up to the top hairpin here. Is anyone going to go for a move? Don't think that James is under really any pressure here. Tom's falling back enough that James can sort of take the optimal line through the corners, meaning that probably James is going to start pulling away at this point, unless he makes another mistake. And saying that, Tom has really closed up on him there in a couple of corners, and I've really dropped back. So who knows? Maybe James is under pressure, and yes, he is. He's gone wide, and now Tom's right up behind him as we go up to the top hairpin. Is he going to go for an overtake? This is surely Tom's best chance to go for it. So up to the top hairpin, is he going to go for it? He's right up in the slipstream, but once again, I think James is so fast in a straight line, Tom couldn't quite close up on him there. Normally Tom would be overtaking anyone in a straight line, but he couldn't quite get the opportunity there. And at this point, I'm loving it, because I'm like, these two battling is only going to be helping me. So you can see here the outboard shot. I'm cruising around here. Well, not cruising, I'm really, I'm going 100%. And I'm really going to the max here, but I can't quite keep up with these two, who are having a really good battle here at the moment. So up to the top hairpin, you can see definitely James is starting a little bit defensive. I think he's slightly worried about Tom possibly going up his inside, but not the case this time, and he's definitely defended that position quite well at the top hairpin there. See, the gap it's actually closed down between us three. It's definitely closed down over the last 3 laps or so. So I'm looking at this, and definitely with a good possibility that maybe I could get onto the podium at this point here, which would be either of these two spinning, but we gotta be lucky, to be honest, because both of those guys are very good defending as well. So through the bottom corner, you can see John is trying to put the pressure on Will's dad, but unfortunately for him, he hasn't quite got enough speed right now to get past him, and Will just still cruising out front. He's leading this race by a country mile right now. And if we look at this outboard shot, you can see we're only just going through the shot right there, so we are really far behind Will here. He's had a really good first part of this race here, and to be honest, we're only going into the last few laps of this race now, so we've got to really ramp it up. If we want to get an overtake done, it's got to be done ASAP. So Tom not quite close enough to get an overtake here, and maybe James is now finally got into the rhythm, and maybe he won't be able to get the overtake done there, Tom, because that's quite far back. But who knows, one mistake from James once again, and Tom could be right over his back of his engine on the go-kart there, and it could all change in an instant. He's gone slightly wide again, but then he's also got a very good line and speed through there, so maybe that wasn't a bad line after all. So across the line once again, we're now on to the 15th lap of this race. As I said, they're generally gone for about 20 laps, so we'll see how this one plays out. There is Will's dad, and John is still right up behind him. It's such a close one between those two. Is John going to be able to get this overtake done? We're going to hopefully go on board with John here. You can see up to the top hairpin. Will's dad takes a slightly weird line through there. Up to the top hairpin. Is John going to be close enough? This is one of the closest opportunities he's had here, but no, not really close enough. He's taken a bit of a weird line there, Will's dad, but he's going to get through there all good, and John's going to have to still stay in 6th place. It's very frustrating for him, I'm sure, and you can see he's not going to quite get past him here, but the gap maybe could possibly open up in the last couple of laps of this race. It's going to be close though. I think the big thing for me and John is that just that straight line speed. We can't quite get it at the end of the straight when you really need it to go for that sort of last minute overtake down the inside. We just don't quite have that top end speed, and that is partly due to being taller and probably a bit heavier as well. So we go back to the onboards of Tom, and we'll see James just in front here. A few laps to go. The gap is slightly widening. I had this problem as well. We haven't got many of the onboards from me in this race because honestly they weren't that exciting, but when I look back at them, I'm like, it's just so annoying. It's like 1 or 2 attempts every single lap. I seem to be just dropping back, and I was just praying basically every single lap now to just have a bit of a mistake from anyone here, because at this rate you can see I'm just slowly losing a bit of time each lap, meaning that I'm just not going to really be able to get this this overtake done, even though I would have loved to. You can see this gap here from the visual, sort of, you can just visually see the gap from the last time we were on board with myself. It's just like at least a second more of those tenths of a second each and every lap. Very frustrating, but that's just how it goes. And if we go on board, if we go to the wide camera here, you can see James, he's definitely putting a bit more of a gap on Tom here. And we're just struggling, to be perfectly honest. We really are struggling to get any sort of pace out of this car here. But at the end of the day, it should all equal itself out as the whole season goes on. So hopefully, we might have a bad kart here today, but hopefully it will equal itself out. And as we go to new tracks and all that sort of stuff, I'd assume that the karts will equal themselves out. Fingers crossed, eh? Anyway, let's go back on board with James, who is going defensive here in the last couple of laps of this race here. He wants to make sure that, that Tom doesn't go past. He goes slightly wide through that corner. You can see Tom's putting the pressure on, and I'm just there in case something does happen with a couple of laps to go. But that gap to Tom has definitely widened. But Tom's done a very good job here. I did think initially he'd lost quite a bit of time to James, as Will is actually on the last lap of the race here, by the way. I did actually think he was losing quite a bit of time to James, but in this last couple of laps, he's actually pulled it back, which is quite a good job from him. So nice to see there from Tom to manage to try and keep this bit of, keep a bit of pressure on James here to see whether he can maybe just edge out a mistake here in the last lap or so of this race. I think Will, if I remember correctly, is completely backed off here. He did have about a 10-second lead, I think, over second place James, but he really did back it up, I think, over the last couple of laps. There's no point pushing, so might as well just bring it home. Will has crossed the line to finish this race, and up to the start-finish line, I'm going to come home in 4th place. It means that James finished in 2nd, and Tom finished in 3rd place. And if we go on board with John here, you can see he's really putting the pressure on here on Will's dad. Is he going to get an overtake in the last corner? Will's dad's gone wide. Is John going to be able to get a good enough run? I don't think he is. There's the finish line, there's the flag. Unfortunately for John, he's going to come home in last place, but nonetheless, it's a couple of points. They'll go on the leaderboard, and they'll be important. So let's have a look now at the standings after that first race here. So Will completed 20 laps. James was 5 seconds behind. Tom was 6.4 behind. I was pretty much 9 seconds behind. Will's dad was 26.2, and then John was 26.6. So close between those two. Sort of a staggered gap between Will in 1st and me and down in 4th. It sort of edged out between between us at the end of that one, but nonetheless I was happy with that. I picked up a couple more points, only lost a couple of points to Tom, who is most likely my championship rival, because I don't think Will and James will be coming to as many races. So yeah, also got points over on John as well, so for my championship at least that's not looking too bad. But let's go ahead to the second race of the day here with a reverse grid. So as you guys probably know from our other videos, reverse grids always provide excitement. So as we're on board here with James, as the lights go out, and away we go here. James starting in 5th position. A great start there from Tom. Looks like he's already going to be up into 2nd position there as we're going down to turn 1. Will has also got a good start. You can see jumping up into 3rd place there. But it's currently Will's dad from, I think that's 2nd place. I think that's Tom. 3rd place, I think that is Will. 4th place, John. 5th place, myself. And James currently down in 6th place. But the big thing is, Will's dad leading this race means that hopefully this should provide a bit of excitement, because he was slightly slower in that last race. So fingers crossed that at least we can get involved in a bit of a battle here. So it looks like Tom is trying to go for a move around the outside. Will was also trying to get involved in there as a battle as well. You can see I going side by side with John here at the back straight. It's all kicking off here as we got to the top hairpin. Will has actually made it into 2nd position here on board with John, and I'm going to look down the inside, slightly going to go for the overtake, and John manages to get back past there. So I try and go for the overtake, but I leave him space. Don't want to get involved in an incident on lap number 2 of this race. So you can see Will is definitely putting the pressure on his dad here, and Tom is right up behind as well. Tom is ultra fast in a straight line, so hopefully he will be looking to capitalise on that. So is he going to try and go on the outside here? It depends, because as we said earlier on, Will's dad is incredibly good at defending, so it's going to be good to see whether he can do once again to Will, obviously, who's a little bit faster than John in that first race. So let's see up to the top hairpin. His dad's done it once again. It's defending it once again, and pretty much everyone's sort of staying in position here. We're all waiting for something to kick off, and luckily at the moment it hasn't. I think this race already has the trademark as one of the greatest ones we've had, because look at this, look how close it is. Normally even on lap 3 it's starting to spread out, but the fact that Will's dad is leading this race, you'd say it's definitely bunching it up somewhat. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. So Will trying to go to the inside, don't think he's going to be able to get that overtake done. Up to the top hairpin, James looking to the inside, and me, is he going to get that overtake done? It's side by side, he's done it. James has got the overtake done. he's up into the 5th place, and now that means I'm down into last as well, so that's not too good for me. So Will, once again, putting the pressure on his dad. Is he going to be able to get the overtake done here? Don't think he is. He's taking the tighter line, but his dad so good at defending, which means that he just can't quite get the overtake done. So once again, Will is under massive pressure here from Tom. He's looking to go for the inside move on his dad, but he's also having to look to defend for Tom, who's coming so quickly down the straight. James going for a move down the inside of John, and then he's done it. James up into 4th place with a really good little overtake there. Nice clean racing as always. So we're going to look at Will. He's going for the move down the inside. He's gone for it, and he's done it, and he's moved up into the 1st position once again. Great move from Will. Now Tom's going to try and follow him through here. Oh, there's slight contact as Will's dad gets sideways. Tom's hopping over the curves, and I think Tom's actually backing out here. He doesn't want to get involved in any contact, but Will's dad gets sideways, and there's more contact as we go up to the back straight. Look at this side by side, 2x2, as James tries to go on the outside of all of us here. I think he's done it. John, is he going to keep it? John's in 3rd place, and oh, there's contact. James into the wall. Oh, James is off and into the tyre barrier. He's down into last place now, so it's all kicked off. There finally has been contact, and James is the one who's in the tyres and down into last place. Well, there we go then, guys. We expected it to happen, and just a slight bit of contact meaning that James is off into the tyre wall. That's all because we're all backing up there, all trying to get past each other, and I think John just trying to go through the corner. James had made a slight mistake and gone wide, so I'm trying to go down the inside, but I didn't realise there was a yellow flag there. Slightly strange. There wasn't a yellow flag indication any earlier, but anyway, nonetheless, we all slowed down in time, which is good. But that does mean I've lost a little bit of time, as it does look like both of those two have floored it through the yellow flag zone. It looks like James might have just done the same as well. He's definitely gained a little bit of time through that yellow flag zone, but you know, I'm not saying anything. Anyway, so John currently in 3rd place. Once again, he's got the task of trying to overtake Will's dad, who's having a really good race once again. He knows what he's doing, and Will is just flying off into the distance here, and John backing off in that yellow flag zone. Maybe Will's dad not so much. Looks quite flat out through there, to be fair. So that's how it all's played out. So at the moment, 2nd place is Will's dad, 3rd place is John, 4th place is Tom, 5th place is myself, and then 6th place is currently James. I'm not going to lie, guys, this is definitely making me run out of breath. This is like so intense, this second race here. So you can see on board with James here, up to the top hairpin, found the first sort of proper corner, I guess you can call it, but this is the one we always call the first corner. I can see I'm going to go to the outside here. Once again, there's a yellow flag out. That's the 3rd lap in a row there. Maybe we should introduce safety cars, because otherwise this is getting crazy, lads. Nonetheless, John hasn't lost too much time to Will's dad, but I definitely say Will's dad's been going quicker through those yellow flag zones, because John was pretty much right up behind him before the yellow flags, and well, he's definitely lost a second or two through that. So anyway, we're on to lap number 10 already, so this race is already about halfway over, which is pretty intense because, let's be honest, so much has been going on. It's been hard to track how quickly all the laps have been counting down. So I'm trying to go for a move on the outside here of Tom. Not going to quite get that one done, as we're all trying to get past John, who's probably slightly feeling the pressure. Yeah, he got a bit sideways through there. John really is probably feeling that pressure. I mean, he's got 3 people right up behind him. I mean, let's be honest, he's definitely feeling the pressure. So, on to lap number 11. Will is on, so you can see on board with Tom here. He's got a really good run out of here. Is he going to be able to go for the overtake here on John? So, John's really interesting defending here. So, he doesn't really go one way or the next. He sort of plants his cart right in the middle of the track. There's not enough room to go down the inside. So, Tom, he was sort of really undecisive there whether he could go for it or not. I mean, it's very, very tough because, like, one way there's not much gap, the next way there's not much of a gap, so you're pretty much having to go for a dive bomb down the inside to get a proper overtake done. But this time, Tom's got a really good overtake once again. Sorry, not overtake, he's got a really good run out of the corner once again, but I've got a good run on them as well. So how's this all going to play out? I pretty much at this point was going to be going the one way that the others weren't, so I went to the outside here. Tom, is he going to go for this overtake? No, he's not looking like it. Then I'm going around the outside. Oh, there's contact. I've been sent wide, and there we go. I'm down into last place as James goes through there. So at the time, I was really fuming about that, but now I've looked back at it in replays. It's a tough one because we watched this again. So this is my on board. So this is my on board from the start here. So you can see Tom's going one way. He's going to the inside. He's trying to get the overtake done on John. So I think, okay, let's try something different. Let's go around the outside here. There's contact, and from my point of view, it doesn't look like there's anything I've done wrong there. So let's look at it on board with James here. So once again, he's trying to do the same sort of move as me. He's trying to do just probably follow me through the corner. So you can see down there, and well, there is a bit of a jink left from from Tom there, but on board with him is where we definitely see it. So he's focused on the braking zone, then his eyes are drawn to me, so that's why he doesn't steer into the corner as much. So I would definitely call that a racing incident. Yes, it was frustrating for me at the time, but when I've reviewed the footage, I don't think there's anything really wrong. Tom was just looking, his eyes were drawn to me, trying to go on the outside, meaning he wasn't looking at the corner, so he was just sort of going straight instead of sort of slightly turning into the corner, which is the racing line. So I totally understand, and then that was just a racing incident between us two there. But means that John's in third, fourth place now is Tom, fifth place James, and I'm currently down in last place. So at this point I knew I had a bit of a challenge on my hands here to get anything but last place here, but it's a challenge. I thought let's try and outscore Tom here today. That would be the most important thing. So trying to get past him was sort of my goal for the rest of this race here. So once again, Tom trying to look for an overtake here. So we're on board now with James. Is he going to go for an overtake on Tom to try and switch this whole battle up? James obviously coming back from a mistake, well, not really a mistake on his part, where he sort of ended up in the tyre wall. Well, he's really fighting back here, but he couldn't quite get an overtake done there on Tom. And Tom all over the back of John here. We haven't got too many laps to go. Will's on the 15th lap of the race already here. I can see I've started to close them down once again. That gap has come back down after my slight sort of running wide there. So Tom once again gets a good run, but John, he just defends it well enough there through that first corner. Not to the hairpin here. Tom, he's not sure what to do because John, he leaves a bit of a gap on the inside, but it's not enough of a gap to go for an overtake, so it's really tough for Tom here. What does he do? Does he just keep the position and hope that John makes a mistake, or does he try and risk it around the outside, but also risk meaning that James could sort of just dive bomb him down the inside? So it's a really tough one here. Tom under really big pressure here, trying to go for that overtake, and actually at the same time make sure that he doesn't get overtaken by Tom, who's rides up behind him here. So we're going to be once again battling up to this top hairpin here. You can see it's really close. John defending once again, and now I think James actually trying to go for the outside move here, but he doesn't realise I'm close and I've gone for the move down the inside, and I've moved myself up into 5th position there. So James didn't expect me to go for an overtake there. He told me after it he did not expect me to go for an overtake at that part of the track, and he didn't expect me to be that close. So that is why I managed to get the overtake down. And John's this time he slid wide, and now Tom is in two minds. How does he go for this? Because I made a move down the inside. I moved myself into 4th position once again. Now this is going to be interesting up to the top hairpin. Where's James going to go? Is he going to try and go on the outside? I think he is, but he's not going to be able to quite pull it off. So I've managed to get myself up into 4th position there after dropping down to 6th. Are we going to be able to try and get this overtake on John here and get ourselves onto the podium? That'd be massively important for me in terms of the championship, because right now I'm losing 1 point to Tom in the overall standings for the weekend. But Tom has had a great run in that corner. I'm going to get slightly bogged up behind John, but Tom sort of backs out of that one. He doesn't go for it fully, so that means I keep my 4th position for now as we go up to the top hairpin. Is Tom going to go for a move down the inside? I'm going to try and go on the outside of John. Is it not going to work out? It's side by side between myself and Tom, and Tom's going to go past and back into 4th place, meaning after all of this I'm back down into 5th, and James is right up behind me. Oh my goodness. So let's have a look at this, guys. I try and go on the outside of John here, but I can't quite get it done. You can see it's so annoying. I'm trying to go down the inside of John. There's a bit of contact and Tom goes through. Good stuff from Tom there. Spatial awareness and making sure there's not any more contact there. Really close stuff there. I made sure that I didn't crash into John fully there, but bit annoying on my part, but it's my fault. I tried to go for the risky move around the outside and it didn't quite work out here. So now Will is on the 19th lap of the race. We're just about to go on to it here, so probably about 2 laps to go here. I think this is a 20 lap race, this one. So once again, Tom trying to go for an overtake up to the top hairpin on John. It's a bit more of a gap this time, but he doesn't go for it. I mean, John's doing really good with the defending and he can't quite once again get that overtake done. At this rate, Will has already basically won this race. His dad's pulled enough of a gap to be in 2nd, and then there's this 4-horse race here for 3rd place. It's absolutely awesome. So John's currently leading it, then Tom, myself, and then there's James down in 6th place currently. So once again, now we're on to the last lap of this race here, guys. Is Tom going to finally go for this overtake up to the top hairpin? We don't know at this point. That is the last lap of the race. So I'm going to go for a move around the outside once again. I'm going to try this risky move. There's a bit of contact. I'm going to get the move done. It's 3 wide, and I've gone for it, and I've done it. Up into 4th place there. And awesome stuff there. Can't believe I got the overtake done. Means that Tom's demoted down to 5th place. So let's have a look at this replay. Round the inside. Look at that. There's a bit of contact once again. A bit of a replay of earlier. And once again, this time actually I managed to get the overtake done. So let's have a look at it. On board with Tom here. Up to the top hairpin. His eyes slightly drawn to me once again. This time we one ride. Both of us. He does say sorry, which I appreciate. But nonetheless, I'm up into 4th place here with a couple of corners to go. I've taken a really weird line through this last corner. I've gone sideways. It's a side-by-side battle. Up to the start-finish line. Who's going to get 4th? I ducked down. I just about do it. Oh my goodness, what a crazy race there then, guys. I managed to grab 4th position on the last lap of the race. Wow, Tom was not too happy with that. Not anything to do with sort of like a crash or anything, but he was just basically gutted. He lost it right at the end there. So Will completing 20 laps again. His dad finishing 18.8 seconds behind. John was 22.6. I was 23.0. Tom was 23.1. That is mental. And then James was 23.4. So 3 karts in the space of 0.4 of a second. Now, I've got to say that's pretty awesome. But after the racing, guys, let's head over for some interviews. So we've got Will, we've got Tom, and first up we've got John after his podium visit here today at Filching Manor. So John, it looked like a bit of a better result out there today. How did it go?
Well, qualifying wasn't too great. I was sort of getting in a hang of the kart and everything. And first race, I couldn't get past Will's dad. Really well defended, and I utilised sort of what I saw then. I couldn't get past him in the second race, and so I managed to keep 3rd position. Probably my best result here. So yeah, really happy with today.
And did the kart feel good today? What about the conditions? They looked a bit slippery.
Conditions were better than I thought actually. It looked sort of slippery in parts, but generally, yeah, the kart's grip was phenomenal today. Really good. Just sort of great kart, great day overall.
So today it looked a bit slippery out there. How was it in qualifying then the races?
Qualifying is surprisingly grippy. It looked quite wet, but I managed to keep grip most of the time.
And as for the second race was the most interesting one, a bit hectic. What happened up the top hairpin a few times?
Well, I managed to get myself into 2nd position and then got stuck behind someone and then made a slight mistake going up the straight and just got bumped around and then just passed by everyone.
Pretty easy out there today. What was your secret?
Just a good kart. Yeah, it was a good day. Weather's just right.
And as for the second race, was a nice interesting one. You got stuck behind your dad for a second. How did you overcome that?
He made a mistake, so it was quite an easy pass really, because he got a bit wide. So I made it, yeah, quite easy up the inside.
As for the first race, you were a bit scared about someone dive bombing up in turn 1. Why did he not do it?
Oh, you never know. When James is alongside you in turn 1, you can't try. Well, he did do it. He got through. He just made a mistake on the second lap, and he couldn't hold it together. After all of that, this is how it looked for the championship standings. Tom with a slightly better weekend than me this time, meaning he gains 1 point in the championship chase. Means that I'm on 48 points, he is on 44. Will, after his great results this weekend, maxing points, means he's got 35, 1 ahead of John, who didn't have the best of weekends in that first race, but he pulled it back in the second with a great, incredible drive. Will's dad is managing now to get up to, is that 5th place in the championship on 19 points. Then we got my dad on 18, James on 18, and Archie, who didn't race today either, down on 14 points. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. I'd really appreciate it if we can hit 200 likes on this video. It'd be massively appreciated. Until next time, it's been AlexZAfRo. Goodbye.